me know what you're up to. Let me know what's going on in your life. That's the whole point of the Data Roundtable, where we come together and we talk about anything related to data. There's no agenda. We can talk about anything that's on your mind. Let me know what you're working on, what you're reading, what you're coding, what you're thinking about. It's all fair game. That's the whole purpose of having such an open discussion. So let me know. Let me know that you're out there. We took a little bit of a break yesterday. I did have some client phone calls yesterday. I do have some a one-on-one coaching that I offer, so you can look at that at the links in my bio. So when those come up, I do have to give those priority. But otherwise, I'm back. I stream every day, generally speaking, at this same time. So feel free to join and let me know what you're working on, what you're doing, what's on your mind. I'm here for all of that. So let me know what's going on. I am personally working on doing some of my own research, some of my own study of LLMs a little bit more. You know, it never hurts to look at more of the fine tuning aspects of LLMs. I'm also collecting some more information from some of my colleagues and peers around me as far as other things I should be looking at with AI. In the chat, we have Michael. Michael, how are you, my good friend? He says, good morning. Good morning to you too, Michael. Hope your day's off to a good start. I know my day is just getting underway here. I know your day's a little bit further along. But thanks for being here, Michael. So as I was saying, another thing I'm working on is I'm working on kind of keeping up with colleagues and other peers in the industry. Yesterday, I was doing some recalibration of my own understanding of salary ranges that are out there. So that was a good thing to do. I'm going to be sharing that with with my coaching clients in our group me discussion later. But I was reaching out to some of my colleagues trying to get an idea of what's going on as far as salaries go. Michael says, tragic news yesterday about the 16-year-old. Sorry, Michael, I don't know what you're referring to there. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with news recently, so about the 16-year-old. Let me know what you mean there, Michael. Casual Economist, my good friend Casual Economist says, big data Dennis, happy hump day. Happy hump day to you too, Casual Economist. Hope you're doing well. I actually thought about you the other day because over on TikTok, there I managed to get a couple of reels on some of the music acts at the Minnesota Fair. So I thought about you there, wondering if you were in the crowd somewhere. But geez, the Minnesota Fair looks like a big affair. It's not as small as I would have imagined. But it seems like a lot of people go to that. So I know you said you had gone, so I'm glad you had a good time there. But yeah, a couple of those videos did show up on my TikTok, which was funny. Okay. Michael saying a young man who got depressed and used ChatGPT. Yes, Michael. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. My brain wasn't working in that space there. Yes, that is obviously a very tragic thing. For those of you that don't know, there is a case right now here in the U.S. where basically a young man used ChatGPT for suicide instructions. Or I think the parents are alleging that it was the suicide coach or something like that. I think is what they're using in the legal documents. So yeah, I mean, obviously that is very concerning. Now, the interesting part about that, and obviously there's a lot more to come on that, right? It's still early. But the interesting part about that is that, to me, that was one of the scenarios that ChatGPT said during their ChatGPT 5 reveal that they would be more aware of, and they would be preventing people from doing that. I think that during the ChatGPT release, the 5 release, they used an example of bomb making instructions, right? Like if somebody was asking questions, like they were saying that the ChatGPT could distinguish between asking questions for chemistry purposes versus for like violent purposes, right? So you would think that this would be something that it would distinguish between somebody asking health questions versus asking for, you know, like suicide instructions, right? Because obviously they could be similar in some regards. So yeah, I mean, seems to me like that's a failure of one of their safeguards that they should have been able to. You would think that they would have been able to make that distinction there, right? Casual Economist says, "Rip to the older man who died falling for the Meta AI chat girl." Yeah, that's right. That's another case that seems to be coming out where people are basically creating a lot of emotional attachments to people that don't exist, essentially, right? So yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But let me know your thoughts on that, guys. Let me know your thoughts on both of those topics, because again, it seems like this scenario is the exact reason or the exact thing that ChatGPT said they could prevent, right? I'll also be following it closely because, as you know from some of my other content, I don't have a high esteem for a lot of the tech companies out there, right? I mean, a lot of these tech executives are basically psychopaths at their core, right? And there's research to show that, right? There's TED Talks on this, right? So they are experts at getting out of liability. I mean, that's basically what these people excel at. They're not very smart. They're not generous people. They're not nice people. They are excellent at avoiding liability. That's the primary skill most tech executives have, right? So you'd like to think that OpenAI would stand up and do the right thing, but I'm very I would consider that the least likely scenario that this results in, unfortunately. So yeah, Michael, thanks for bringing that up as a point of discussion. Obviously, a very tragic situation. Obviously, something that you hope has some sort of long-term solution, but you just don't know. So Michael says, hopefully, these two cases will serve as learning opportunities and maybe even opportunities for folks like us to improve the experience and/or safeguards. Yeah. Yeah, I like that, Michael. I like that a lot. Because, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of open source or other sort of like LLMs that we can use and we can deploy to have those safeguards, right? Now, Michael, at the same time, though, I do have to play kind of devil's advocate and be the other side here and say, well, what is a safeguard? How much is there such a thing as too much of a safeguard? Right? The old hacker's mantra of information wants to be free would say that there shouldn't be any safeguards. So there's an opposite side to that too, right? There's people out there that would give you pushback and say, well, wait a minute, I don't want any safeguards, right? Because at what point, somebody would tell you at what point does a safeguard become censorship, right? Yeah, Michael says my safeguard may not be for everyone. True. Yeah, that's exactly right, Michael, right? I mean, what is a safeguard? There is no single definition for that, right? Everybody's definition would differ for sure. So yeah, Michael, that's kind of what I think too, though, right? But you know, certainly not trying to take away from the tragedy that happened there. That's a terrible loss. But you do have to have that discussion and say, well, how do you know that you're not going to go too far with the safeguards? And then also, I mean, there's so many edge cases, right? How many safeguards do you need? You probably need a lot, right? I mean, you could probably find some border to the safeguards, like some limit, right? Like, you know, you don't want anything that harms other people or harms themselves, right? But is that all we need? Do we need more? Do we need less? And I kind of say that thinking about like automated vehicles, right? AVs, or autonomous vehicles, I should say, right? Because you guys know I'm also not a fan of those. So people say, well, we can have safeguards for AVs. Well, no, maybe we can't because the number of safeguards you need is too wide. It's too many. But can we find safeguards for LLMs? Yeah, maybe. Don't hurt others, don't hurt yourself. Maybe that's enough. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. You know, you guys are smart in the chat. But if you're just joining us, this is the Data Roundtable. We can talk about anything you guys want. I love the fact that Michael and Casual Economists have brought up a unique topic, right? And this is keeping with the trend that on YouTube we tend to have a little bit more of a mature chat. You know, we definitely have more elevated topics over during this part of the stream, because after this I do jump over to Instagram. You're welcome to follow me over there. But that definitely tends to be a little bit more about jobs and the study of data science in general. So I do appreciate that you guys are bringing up topics that are unique to YouTube and just a little bit more elevated. So thank you both for that. But yeah, a lot of complex issues, guys. A lot of complex issues. You know, and also another thing to think about when we think about issues like this, you know, and the young man and the people that are having these AI relationships and all that, it also speaks to how new all of this is, right? This is all very new. So it just fascinates me when people ask me, oh, is it too late to get into AI? I feel like I'm behind. We are in such early days. We are in such early days for all of AI and data science and LLMs and all that. Well, not early days for data science. Data science has existed in some form or another for a while. But when I hear people saying, oh, you know, AI is going to be a fad, it's going to be over, I'm too late. We're like in year one of like 500 years. Right? Because these types of topics still have to be figured out. We still don't know what all this looks like in the future, right? Casual Economist has obviously confused us for the Instagram chat. Hey Dennis, I'm a fresher studying PyTorch. Can I get a remote job for $200K without any experience? That's funny. Yep, Casual Economist says that's my IG question. Yep, Casual Economist, you're an animal. Because I know that you're one of the people that follow me over to Instagram. I can't believe you managed to put up with a whole hour plus of me. But yes, that is exactly the type of Instagram questions that are out there. But you know what? I don't get tired of it. People ask me if I get tired of answering the same questions, and the answer is no. Right? I don't want to kill anybody's enthusiasm for data science. Well, I'll kill enthusiasm for PyTorch, right? Because that's me doing a public duty. But yeah, you know, people have those questions, but that's okay, right? We need that to have data science live in the future, live beyond me, and in, you know, I want it to continue decades from now, right? So yes, Casual Economist, I think you have captured the types of questions I get over there. But you know, that's okay. That's okay. We all had to start somewhere. We all have that enthusiasm. So I definitely don't want to kill that enthusiasm from anybody. But oh, sorry about that. But you know, it's all right. Casual Economist says I actually like the IG questions. Yeah. I enjoy the discussion over here on YouTube a little bit better because, for example, I love the discussion that you guys brought up. I love the variety of topics. You know, the IG, the tough part about the IG questions, Casual Economist, is that sometimes I have to give people hard truths and people aren't always ready for hard truths, right? And also because, and the second reason I say that too is because I'm fully aware that a lot of the answers that I give are swimming upstream against some of the against the idiot influencers and all the stuff that they sell, right? So when all that nonsense is so prevalent, I'm the one that sounds like the crazy one for saying you can't do it, right? Or giving a different answer, right? So in that regard, that's not always fun because I'm swimming against the tide. But I never hesitated to do that. I've never hesitated to do that in my life, right? But it is a little bit tiring in that regard. Casual Economist says, "Oh yeah, I have seen some get a little upset when when you break up the nonsense." Yeah, right. And some of them don't believe me. Some of them message me afterwards, or they go against my advice, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, you are, kind of, breaking some hearts and minds out there, right? But that's okay, right? I have to tell people the truth. That's staying true to what I've done and what I believe and what I've seen in my career. But yeah, it's tough sometimes. It's tough. I don't like killing people's enthusiasms, but at the same time, I've never been afraid to go against the grain. It's good to go against the grain, right? It's good to have that opposite opinion, right? It's good for you to be able to say, hey, look, I hear what you guys are saying, but I have my own opinion, and I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet and stand with what I believe. That's very important in science, right? A lot of scientific discoveries in our history would have never happened if people just kind of went with the flow and don't rock the boat and just go with what the group says. You can't always do that, right? You gotta take a risk every once in a while. So yeah, it's an interesting chat over there for sure. But speaking of which, I think I am going to make the switch over there. So I want to thank you guys for joining today. Really, really good topics today. Really appreciate that. So thanks, everybody. As always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I will see you again tomorrow.